Hello, thank you for joining the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs for our Wednesday webinar on cryptocurrency scams. I'm Scott Cook. I'm the Communications Director here at SCDCA. I've been with our agency for about 3 years and most recently in this position for the past year or so. But before that, I was our social media and web strategist. So I've been with our agency for a good while now, but today we're going to be discussing cryptocurrency scams. And again, these things come in a variety of forms of ways. They might be investment scams, they might be tied into a romance scam, might even just be the payment method that a scammer is asking for. But we know these things kind of have a lot of varieties to them, and a lot of times they may even demand that you go to a cryptocurrency ATM and give them a payment that way. So we're going to talk about a little bit of those things and just kind of want people to think about what it is that scammers are asking for. Anytime anybody's asking you for that type of stuff, a lot of times when there's a payment request that's being demanded and they're demanding that you go, to a cryptocurrency ATM or that you pay it in a cryptocurrency in any type of way, a lot of times that's a scam. So we really want people to just kind of think about those types of requests. We're going to get into a lot of the different kind of ways that scammers use cryptocurrency to try to steal people's money. So kind of want to just start a little bit with some quick basics on cryptocurrency, and we'll just kind of talk about how people use it and some of that type of stuff. But a lot of things that people use cryptocurrency for, a lot of quick payments. They might be using it to avoid some transaction fees, something like that. There is a little bit of anonymity involved in using cryptocurrency, so that might be something that people want to use it for, either for better or worse. So in the case of scammers, a lot of times they like that it's a little bit harder to know who's sending that money and that type of stuff. Kind of the most popular or the most kind of well-known cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. It was the first one, and it kind of rose to attention in about 2008. And right now, there's probably hundreds or thousands of different types of cryptocurrency. I'm not going to get into all the names and all that, but some of them can be worth a good bit of money. Some of them can be worth just a few pennies, depending on what type of cryptocurrency you're looking at. And there's a wide variety too, depending on what type of websites and things that you're looking at or the apps that you're using. They all kind of have their own different offers that they use, and they all kind of have different purposes of who will accept it and who will trade it and all of that. So kind of what is cryptocurrency? Kind of the basic thing for it is it's just the digital currency that exists electronically. So it's kind of an electronic money in some ways, and it uses an encryption algorithm. It can function, again, both as a currency and as an accounting system. A lot of people use it as an investment. We say that because the prices can change and things like that. We'll kind of mention that again here in just a second. But usually when you're trying to buy cryptocurrency, you go through an exchange, a website, an app, maybe the cryptocurrency ATM. I know there's some of those in my neighborhood where you can go to a gas station or wherever and put in different money to be able to get different types of cryptocurrency depending on the ATM. And they're all kind of set up where you can also purchase them or kind of earn them through a process called mining. It's kind of more of a complicated thing that a lot of people with advanced computer equipment might be using to solve kind of math related puzzles and be able to kind of earn cryptocurrency that way. And again, we're going to kind of shoot through some of these real quick because I want to get into the scams and stuff here in just a second. So we'll kind of go through some of these basics quickly. So the cryptocurrency wallet is kind of the way that a lot of people store their cryptocurrency. So again, in order to spend it or to save it, you're going to need some type of cryptocurrency wallet. Again, that wallet's just kind of the software cloud-based service that you're using to store that information on your computer or your device. And again, it's kind of using encryption keys that are kind of linking your identity and linking your accounts and things like that to the cryptocurrency you own. Kind of the big thing with it is that it's a little bit different than actual money because it is electronic money, right? So it's not going to be backed by the government. A lot of the accounts that you're going to have, they're not insured by things like the FDIC. So if something happens to these accounts, if somebody hacks into it or if the company goes out of business, as happened with some of these cryptocurrency types, if something happens like that, you may not be able to get your money back. So that's kind of an important thing to keep in mind as you're buying cryptocurrency or if you're investing in it. And also know, and kind of the big thing that a lot of people like about it is the value may change, and it kind of changes constantly. So this can happen pretty rapidly in some cases, even hour by hour. It may, vary a good bit depending on what's going on with that variety of cryptocurrency market. It's all kind of done by supply and demand too. So, keep that in mind. So if a lot of people are buying it, it may go up incredibly, but if a lot of people are trying to sell it and get rid of it, it may go down, kind of like, maybe like a stock market, but again, it's kind of not insured in the same way that those other traditional type of investments are. So you just kind of want to keep that in mind. Investment that's worth thousands of dollars right now, like I said, it could be worth pennies later, or it could be worth, a lot more later. So those values kind of go up and down. They can be significant, and there's no guarantees about that. So that's kind of the important thing to mention, and we'll kind of talk about that later. So, all these guarantees that somebody's saying that you'll make a lot of money in cryptocurrency, that's going to be one of our red flags that we discuss a good bit in this presentation. So if you're paying with cryptocurrency, just kind of keep this in mind. Your credit cards, debit cards, things like that, again, they have legal protections if things go wrong. If you've got some kind of dispute you may be able to make, you can go through your credit card. You might be able to get that money back. But with cryptocurrency, usually there's not those same type of protections. So if something does go wrong, just kind of keep in mind that these things aren't reversible. So once you pay somebody with cryptocurrency, you probably can't get that money back unless that person that you've given that cryptocurrency to agrees to give it back to you. There's probably no way to be able to, force that person to give you that money back. So just kind of want to know what's going on with that. If you're buying something with cryptocurrency, you want to make sure that you know that seller, you know their reputation, and you know how they might respond if something goes wrong. So you might want to just kind of keep those things in mind too before you agree to pay with cryptocurrency. And again, that's kind of one of the reasons that scammers like it too, is because there's not, in most cases, somebody who's going to force that cryptocurrency payment to come back. So that's kind of one of those reasons that scammers like these types of payments. So again, kind of one of our quick risks with cryptocurrency. Again, the market's volatile. They don't need banks and other third parties to regulate them. So a lot of times, these values kind of go up and down, and they're kind of not held as steady as, the dollar or euro or something like that would be. And again, they're digital currencies, so they can be hacked. So just kind of keep that in mind. If your device gets hacked, or your software, or that provider case gets hacked, those are all different ways that you could lose that investment or that currency. So just kind of keep that in mind too. And again, if you lose access to those digital wallets, depending on what type of service you're using, if you lose that wallet or lose access to it, you've basically lost the entire cryptocurrency investment in a lot of cases. So again, just kind of something to keep in mind as we discuss this type of stuff, or before you, think about investing in it. And again, we kind of want to get into those types of scams that involve these. So now that we've kind of run through those quick little basics, we're going to get into some of the scam information. And some of this is from our Federal Trade Commission. This is numbers from 2023. You'll see this kind of listed out when 47,000 different scams reported to the Federal Trade Commission across the nation. These were all scams reported to them involving different types of cryptocurrency payments, things like that. Not really a shocker, but the largest category was investment scams, and it was about 50% or nearly half of the cryptocurrency payment scams that they saw were investment related. So, just kind of something to keep in mind too. If you're thinking about this and you're not really too familiar with the company or the person that you're dealing with these types of things, just kind of realize that there are a lot of investment scams that kind of are tied in with cryptocurrency. Business imposters were their second kind of most reported type of scams. And, we get these a lot of times in our office as well. So you'll have companies or people who are pretending to be companies, and they'll basically send you some kind of phishing email or text message, something like that. A lot of times it may even be a message on social media where they're pretending to be a company that needs a payment from you with cryptocurrency. So that's one of the things we'll get into here in a few minutes. And of course, romance scams are highly tied to cryptocurrency. And a lot of times when they're involving romance scams, they can be very expensive, where they can get into even the tens of thousands of dollars, or in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars, where people lose, where they think they're sending either login information or cryptocurrency payments, depending on the type of situation, but they think they're sending it to somebody that they have this relationship with, and it turns out not to be the case, that they're actually speaking with a scammer. So those are just kind of things to keep in mind too. So whenever romance things come around, and somebody that you're talking with, especially online, starts to introduce cryptocurrency, either payments or investments type things into the equation, just kind of raise those red flags, and we'll get into that a little bit more, and we'll discuss some of these uh, other types of scams as well as we get moving. So our first one, again, was that kind of highly, it was that most reported one there to the Federal Trade Commission involving cryptocurrency, and it was those investment scams. So anytime anybody's making those promises of zero risk or anything like that, if they're contacting you on social media, especially like a dating app or a dating site or anything like that, just kind of start raising those red flags. And, as we mentioned, it can also be kind of those unexpected text messages, emails, things like that. But kind of the main part of this is they're going to try to convince you to invest with them in some sort of way. A lot of times it's false promises of money that you can make in big chunks. So just kind of keep that in mind, but just kind of realize that a lot of times these websites that are kind of created with investments and things like that, scammers can set up fake websites, fake apps, things like that, and you'll go to them thinking that you're tracking the growth of your cryptocurrency, but it's all fake. So they've created these things that kind of mimic what the normal trading might look like with a cryptocurrency, and it's going up and down, with that kind of speculative market, and you're kind of looking at that thinking you've made a lot of money, but the whole thing is set up as fake. And a lot of times people will kind of report that these websites and these apps are kind of set up so they can actually make a few little small test withdrawals. So you're going in and you're convinced that this is safe, and you put a little bit of money in and you're able to take a little bit of money out and things kind of look normal. So you put a lot more in. But once you kind of do that, you're really kind of putting your money into an account that scammers control. And once you try to cash out, the entire investment, that's when the scammers kind of prevent that from happening. They have a variety of ways that they do that, but kind of the big thing is you think that this website or this app is working, you're trying to get all your money out, and then those scammers keep you from getting that money back. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, our big warning flags with these type of investment things are those promises of big payouts. Nobody's able to guarantee any kind of investment return. That's why it's called an investment, right? You might be able to win, you might be able to lose. But if anybody's kind of promising those big guarantees, especially, that's one of our red flags. And especially if they're guarantee you that it's no risk that you're going to make a profit, that's the sign of a scam. And kind of with cryptocurrency and romance scams, kind of the big thing that we try to tell people is just don't mix online dating and investment advice. That's kind of one of those red flags that if you're dating somebody on an app or a website or whatever and they want you to invest, that's kind of one of those red flags that it's a scam. And again, they're going to use those dating websites, things like that, to meet potential victims. And you might even think that you're in a long-term relationship. A lot of times they'll wait 6 months or even longer than that. Sometimes people say that, it's a year into that online relationship before that scammer might start to introduce either an investment or something like that. They may not ask for those payments directly, but a lot of times they'll say there's some kind of business opportunity or investment opportunity and you should get in with it. They'll claim that they're making big bucks by doing this and that you should do it too, right? So they'll be like, I'm able to make thousands of dollars a month or a week or whatever the case may be, and then they'll try to get you involved with it. And they might either ask you to invest or kind of maybe give access to some of those account credentials, something like that. But again, kind of any time that the romance, especially if it's somebody you haven't met in real life, anytime that gets involved in and things kind of turn into an investment or some kind of money advice, that's kind of one of those red flags that you want to really start to think about what it is that they're asking and how much you really know that person. Kind of the best advice is if you haven't met the person in real life, you probably don't want to give them access to those types of funds. Our next little section here is on imposter and giveaway scams. A lot of times they'll pretend to be celebrities, maybe business people, or some kind of influencer, something like that. Again, always use those names that you recognize, somebody that you maybe trust or something like that. And they're going to promise to either match or multiply the money that you've put into cryptocurrency. It's kind of the sign of a giveaway scam with that. And again, they're kind of using those well-known names to try to make themselves believable. And a lot of times they're going to offer you some kind of once in a lifetime opportunity, and you're going to be able to make big money fast, right? And we've got a quick example of this, and one of the ones that happened a little while back. This was back in June, and this is an article from Mashable, their website. And basically, they were warning people about a video scam that involved Elon Musk. Whatever you may think about Elon Musk, scammers love to pretend to be him, and a lot of times they'll use the information that he's posted or said about cryptocurrency because he is a big supporter of cryptocurrency. So they'll use things that he's said and try to use that as a way to scam other people. So this was a video of Elon Musk that started popping up on YouTube and other social media sites, things like that. It was set up as a live stream. And basically, they used real video of him and they kind of put it on a loop. Some other cases, the audio has been faked either by AI or just kind of different manipulation tools that they've, been able to develop, these scammers. But the big thing with this one is they put all kinds of graphics on the screen. So you were hearing Elon Musk talk about cryptocurrency, but the graphics on the screen sent people to a QR code to be able to invest in cryptocurrency, and it promised that he was going to help people with the investment opportunity, and he would be able to boost their earnings if they went to this site and sent him their cryptocurrency. So that was kind of the get that they, used his name, used his fame to be able to push that. They know that some people trust him pretty heavily, so they use that kind of tie to be able to, get onto social media and promote those videos to get people to click on those links or send money through those QR codes. They thought they were sending money to Elon Musk, but in fact, those codes and those accounts all went to the scammers. So they were able to get a lot of money from people from doing that. And kind of some of the other examples that I know we've kind of showed these a few times before, but it's kind of worth pointing out again that this was one from 2021, but scammers pretend to be Elon Musk again. They also hacked into accounts of a lot of different famous people like Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and a good bit of others, but they used that promise of if you send us $1,000, we'll send you $2,000 back. And kind of the other warning sign or the telltale sign of this was they just gave people a 30-minute window to do this because they knew they'd probably get caught pretty quickly doing this. So they only gave a 30-minute window. People saw it, thought, oh man, I have to act right now or I'm going to miss this opportunity. And they sent that $1,000 thinking they would get $2,000. And apparently scammers made millions of dollars being able to do this. They made a good bit of money off these type of scams. Again, they were hacked accounts, but they sent people these links. People went to them thinking that they were going to get money fast, and they weren't able to do that. So kind of the big thing with this is just kind of know celebrities aren't contacting you out of the blue to give you money like this, right? Anytime somebody's promising that you can make money like this in 30 minutes, it's a scam. And just kind of the big warning sign is if you're getting these types of links, or especially like QR codes, things like that, don't click them. Especially if they're claiming to be a celebrity. That money's not really going to a celebrity who's going to double the money. It's going straight to a scammer who's going to keep that money, and you're not going to be able to get it back. Kind of one of the other ways that scammers use cryptocurrency to target folks is through the cryptocurrency ATMs. A lot of times scammers may pretend to be a business, a government employee, some kind of tech support, something like that, and they're going to say they need you to pay them with cryptocurrency, and then in some cases they send people specifically to a certain ATM that's maybe around the corner from their house. A lot of times scammers have very specific information already about you, so they may know where you live, and they may have already looked up, information on cryptocurrency ATMs that are close to your house. So they may call, and a lot of times they'll try to stay on the phone with you, and they can say, you've got to pay us right now. go to this cryptocurrency ATM. I see ones, a mile down the street at this gas station or wherever, and they may send you to that specific cryptocurrency ATM to make that payment. And again, they know a little bit of information about you, so it can be a kind of a scary situation. And again, these usually claims about something that's maybe suspicious that's happened, or maybe some kind of unauthorized account activity. A lot of times they'll pretend to be either, like I said, government employees, maybe law enforcement or something like that, and make those threats. But they're trying to kind of work you up into thinking that if you don't pay right now and go and put these payments into this Bitcoin ATM or any other kind of cryptocurrency ATM and send them that money, something bad's going to happen. A lot of times they might even pretend to be a bank account or something like that. And if you don't put the money into a cryptocurrency ATM to protect it, something bad's going to happen and you're going to lose all of your money. So kind of the thing to think about is that scare tactic. Slow down, realize that you don't ever have to move money into a cryptocurrency ATM in order to protect it or to do anything like that. Anytime anybody's saying that you have to move money to protect it, it's a scam, right? So just kind of slow down, talk to somebody you trust, and again, never really put that money into a cryptocurrency ATM in response to an unexpected call or a message. And you don't have to use these type of payments to be able to protect money or to solve any kind of problem. So, just kind of keep that in mind. And, I'd say a little bit further, especially with government agencies, we don't take cryptocurrency. So anytime anybody's pretending to be a government agency and telling you you have to go to a cryptocurrency ATM, that's the sure sign of a scam. That's just not a payment that government agencies are able to take. So just kind of keep that in mind too as you hear about these types of things. Phishing is, of course, a scam type that we all get all the time. And when I talk about phishing, it can be a variety of different things. Could be emails, could be text messages, could be social media, but they're just kind of sending that message to you to try to get some kind of response. They may pretend to be a company, again, a business, something like that. And a lot of times they're just trying to get that access, trying to get that information about your cryptocurrency wallet or your payment method that you're using, access to those apps, things like that. They might want the private keys, anything like that, anything that they can use to be able to get access to your cryptocurrency. And again, they might send an email that kind of makes you think something's going on and you need to click that link to go to a website or something like that. They're going to try to get those login credentials, right? So we've got another quick example of something like that kind of happens from time to time. This is one from a little while back, but it's got kind of all those little warning signs that we like to show and like to talk about. The generic kind of greeting, the dear user, is kind of one of those first things that sticks out to me whenever I see it. So if you actually have an account with this type of person, they probably would either have your username, your email address, something there. They're typically when you get a message that's specifically for you, it's probably got your actual name in there and not something as generic as dear user. And of course, they're saying you need to resolve some sort of problem that's happened with the account. So in this case, they're saying something went wrong with the transaction. It's going to be canceled. So, that's kind of one of those warning signs, is that, they'll say that there's something wrong and you've got to do something to resolve it. So in this case, they want you to click on the link, which I'm just now realizing they put click on think below instead of click on the link below. That's kind of funny. I didn't actually realize that the first time I saw it. My eyes just automatically fixed it, but that's the kind of stuff that they do. So, they got one little misspelling there or kind of the wrong word in there. So kind of watch for that type of stuff as well. But again, they want you to click on that link. They want you to provide the email address. They want you to confirm all the information, use all those login credentials to be able to get into that account. You think you're signing into that app or that service, but what you're actually doing is just providing all that information to the scammer, to the cyber criminal there. Keep that in mind. If you actually do have an account that involves this company or whatever that they're claiming that they are, you want to go to those apps or those websites on your own. You don't want to use those login information provided in emails or text messages or social media especially. You don't want to use those. You want to go to those legitimate ways to get into those accounts. And so if you go to that website on your own or open up their app, whatever the service may be, You want to go to that, and if there is a legitimate problem, there's probably some kind of notification inside that app or some way to contact them that you can either email or reach out to them on the phone, or a lot of them have the little AI service that will send the bot information about you. But the point is, if there's a legitimate problem, you should have some kind of way to contact them about that account inside that website or inside that app, and you want to use that information on their official sites to be able to resolve those issues if they are legitimate. But in a case like this, those are just phishing attempts and not legitimate problems to deal with. Cryptocurrency scams also kind of pop up on job sites, and unfortunately sometimes they're legitimate job sites that scammers have either kind of hacked or whatever, but they also send those unsolicited job offers. Just kind of keep in mind if they're selling crypto or wanting you to sell cryptocurrency or convert money into cash. Those are kind of those signs of things that might be the signs of a scam. They might also want you to pay up front for some kind of if it's training or whatever, but they'll say you've got to pay up front for something related to that job offer. And if they're telling you to buy cryptocurrency as part of that job, it's a good sign it's a scam. So you want to just kind of keep those things in mind. Let me advance my slide there. But again, if anybody's telling you that you've got to withdraw some money, like if they send you a chunk of cryptocurrency and tell you to withdraw some of it, just kind of keep those things in mind too. That's signs of a scam, especially if they're sending you a deposit check, telling you you've got to put this check in the bank, deposit it, and then use some of that money to get cryptocurrency for us. Those are all kind of signs of scams. Of course, those checks are going to be fake. They'll bounce, and your bank's going to kind of leave you, to pay for whatever that balance was that bounced. So just kind of keep those things in mind. Again, kind of our best advice with job scams or job offers, especially ones that you get randomly. If you haven't applied for that job, it's probably not legitimate, and you should never have to pay any kind of fee in order to get a job, especially if they're demanding cryptocurrency for that fee. Just kind of keep those things in mind. Anytime that there's a demand for a payment for a job, it's probably a scam. And a lot of times, cryptocurrency can be tied to these blackmail scams that pop up from time to time. The one that I've seen is some emails that are sent to people, or even things that people have gotten in the mail. I know one of our former employees sent me a thing she got in the mail that was basically a photo of her home and information about her address and things like that. So the scammers kind of had a little bit of details about her, and they were claiming to have some kind of embarrassing information about the person, right? They might say they're compromising photos, videos, maybe some kind of personal information. Some cases they'll claim that you violated the law somehow, and they'll kind of say, give us this cryptocurrency money or we're going to release this type of information, right? And just kind of keep in mind, these things are blackmail scams. They're, nothing legal about this type of scam whatsoever. A lot of times they're very vague in their descriptions of what they think that you've done wrong. And they're kind of done that way intentionally. So they're throwing a wide net just to see if something does happen. But there's usually some kind of threat that's involved in it. So anytime that somebody's, making that kind of threat and they're demanding cryptocurrency, don't pay up. These are all kind of types of blackmail. Kind of the best advice is go to the FBI or your local law enforcement, let them know about the type of information that you've received. And especially with the FBI, they have the, cyber criminal investigation unit that they can handle these types of claims that are coming in. So you want to send that information to them immediately. If you downloaded the slides, that link there should take you right to the FBI contact us page so you can get their information about how to report those types of things to them. Now we'll just kind of get in our quick advice about how to steer clear of these types of scams. Just kind of keep in mind, only scammers are going to guarantee profits or big returns. We kind of mentioned that earlier. Any kind of investment, that you make, they're not going to be guaranteed to make money, especially big money. So anytime anybody's promising those big profits, big returns, it's a scam. And again, nobody legitimate is going to contact you, especially out of the blue, and demand those payments by cryptocurrency. especially if they're telling you you've got to fix some kind of problem or to protect your money. Realize that's a scam. I like to tell people your bank is never going to contact you and tell you to move your money out of their bank, especially. So if somebody's contacting you saying they're your bank and you've got to put your money somewhere else, that's not going to happen. That's a scam. And again, never mix online dating and investment advice. Somebody you've met online asks you to invest in cryptocurrency or wants payment in cryptocurrency for something, pretty good sign that that's a scam. Again, kind of the best advice with that type of stuff. If you haven't met somebody in real life, don't send them money. And if you've been on our presentations before, you've kind of heard us mention these types of things, but it's always worth pointing out again that, these scams change all the time. We might not know kind of everything that they do, and a lot of times once we figure it out, they've changed their scam a little bit. So we've got some red flags that just kind of help you avoid all types of scams. And the big one is, just kind of watch. They're going to pretend to be somebody somebody that you recognize, and that might be a government agency, might be a business, might be somebody that you are friends with online on a social media app, something like that. But scammers use those names that you recognize because they want you to trust them, and they know that you're likely to kind of respond to them and interact with them if it's somebody that you recognize. And then they're going to say there's a problem or there's a prize. And again, it might be some kind of trouble with government or law enforcement, something like that. You owe some kind of money, maybe somebody in your family's in trouble, might be something like that. Or they might say, you've got some kind of prize, some kind of big winning that's coming your way. And a lot of times that's things with cryptocurrency. Again, it's kind of that promise of big money for nothing. There's something good coming to you if you do that. And they kind of do that to get you excited, get you worked up. And, once those emotions get flowing, you're kind of likely to make decisions that you wouldn't normally do. They also kind of want you to act immediately. And a lot of time that's because they know if you're making those quick decisions, you're going to make decisions that you normally wouldn't make. And you're probably going to make bad decisions if you're acting quickly. You're not thinking things through. So they want to try to scare you, try to get you worked up, and then they want you to act right away. And they definitely don't want you to talk to other people, because once you kind of get talking about things, you kind of realize the red flags and kind of what may be wrong with the situation. So anytime somebody's asking you to act immediately, kind of raise that red flag. And again, kind of relative to this presentation, scammers always ask you to pay in specific ways. So if somebody's demanding a payment in cryptocurrency, that's kind of one of those red flags that scammers use. Kind of think about it. If they're telling you you have to pay in cryptocurrency or gift card or some kind of prepaid debit card or maybe a wire transfer payment app, something, there's usually some kind of specific form of payment that they want. And they like those payments that are a little bit harder to track, and those things that once you give them away, they're gone. So definitely cryptocurrency and gift cards. Anytime somebody's demanding payment in those ways, just kind of realize that those are the types of payments that scammers like. We've got a quick little roadmap to help you avoid all types of scams. And again, kind of our big thing. Don't answer those phone calls that might come in out of the blue. If they're numbers that you don't recognize, things like that. And if they're coming in for phone calls or text messages, you don't want to respond to them. A lot of times scammers are just trying to see if you will interact with them. So if you're replying to those text messages or if you're answering those phone calls, you kind of let them know that it's an active phone and that you interact with those messages. So you may not fall victim to that type of scam, but they're going to put you on a list or share your number with other scammers, and they're going to start getting more of these things. So anytime you're getting those messages from people you don't know, you want to block those numbers as they come in. And a lot of your phones, especially smartphones, have those good resources to block those types of numbers or even limit the numbers that come in that aren't in your contact list. And you definitely don't want to give your personal or financial information to those requests that come out of the blue that you don't expect. Just kind of think legitimate businesses aren't going to really do that to you. If there's something really going on, they're not just going to contact you out of the blue and demand, those types of personal information, financial information, things like that. And again, don't fall for those high pressure tactics. If somebody's telling you you've got to make a decision right away or pay them right away, don't do it. If they're pressuring you like that, that's a good sign that it's a scammer. And again, kind of know those forms of payments, cryptocurrency, gift cards, wire transfers, those are all types of payments that scammers like. So if they're demanding you got to pay in that certain type of way, pretty good sign that it's a scam. And kind of the best advice I always tell people, there's things that I've almost fallen victim to before, even working in this office for 3 years. Every now and then there's some kind of message that I get that, the scammers can be pretty convincing. There's been a few times where I've almost sent money to people and just got kind of talking to whoever was with me at the time and like, what do you think about this? And, sure enough, I'll start kind of thinking about it and maybe doing a quick little Google search or something and realize that it's, scam that's out there. So really just kind of anytime there's that question about it, stop and talk to somebody that you trust, kind of see what they think. And a lot of times just having those conversations, you'll, if nothing else, you're buying yourself that little bit of time before you make a decision. But, a lot of times as you're kind of just saying these things out loud, you'll realize that it's a pretty good sign that it's a scam. You want to talk to people, before you do those types of things or you send those payments over. Now we've got a little bit of quick information for you about some tools, different things that you can do to protect yourself, and everything we always tell people they're going to be free because, we all like free things. We're not trying to send you any websites that are going to ask you for your money or anything like that. Kind of one of the quick things, especially if you're using, any kind of cryptocurrency accounts or anything like that, I would really encourage you to put multi-factor authentication on any type of account that's tied to your finances. So all your banking, your checking, credit cards, anything like that. You also want to put it on your social media. So, kind of the best advice is put multi-factor authentication on any type of account that allows it. And kind of the FBI tells us that this is the new standard for cybersecurity and protecting your accounts and keeping them safe and secure. It's kind of that best defense against hackers is going to make it twice as hard for them to get into your accounts. So you can use something like a passcode that you maybe get sent to your phone. You can use your fingerprint, face scan, anything like that. Kind of the important thing is to find something that you're comfortable with and use that method. So there's a lot of different methods that a lot of different accounts might have available to you. So kind of look at what those accounts are, what they offer, and find the multi-factor authentication method that works for you and that you're kind of comfortable with. Also encourage people to set up account alerts on, especially your financial accounts, but you can set up things that might tell you about different types of spending. So maybe you've spent a certain dollar amount, you'll get a text message or an email about and tell you, $50 has been spent on your credit card or whatever that dollar amount that you set. I know some people like to set it for every purchase. So you might get, a text message anytime that credit card is used. But you can go into those banking accounts and your credit card accounts especially and kind of see what type of alerts that they offer. Those are usually free. Might even give you different kind of alerts to, set if somebody tries to log into a device into your account that you would get that message to, might give you that, is this you alert, anytime somebody tries to sign in. You can kind of set up a variety of different type of things and set those up. And again, just kind of find out what fits your lifestyle and set those up, and those should be free and available on all your financial accounts. If you're shopping online, especially here on a Black Friday, Cyber Monday, just kind of keep in mind that using a credit card is going to be much better than a debit card for those online purchases. And we say that because those credit cards are going to give you a lot of different protections that your debit card probably doesn't have. So if something goes wrong, that money is going to get back onto your credit account or on those credit cards a lot quicker than what your debit card likely would, refund. And again, those debit cards are going to be directly tied into your checking account. So they're probably tied into how your, either your rent or your mortgage, maybe your car payments, things like that. I tell people that, I've had friends who've had issues with a debit card that they used online where they were double charged for something and, they got that money back later, but it kind of created that headache at the first where, they knew they had rent payments or car payments due really quickly coming up and, it was, oh, crud, I've got, to figure out how to get this money into the account quick because I have all these bills that are about to go through that account. So just kind of keep that in mind. And that's kind of why we recommend people using those credit cards, because if something goes wrong, you've got a little bit more protections, at least while you're in that process of challenging those charges with your credit card. So that's going to be a little bit quicker process for you and a little bit easier to do. You might also want to consider virtual card options. You might want to discuss with your bank what kind of virtual card options you have. Some banks will offer kind of those one-time use numbers where you're, going onto their app or whatever, and you're getting that number where you just put that in for a one-time thing with a purchase online, and once you've used it, it's gone. Apple Pay, Google Pay, things like that are also an option where you're just entering that information in once, and all that information, once you're using those services, is encrypted. Probably tied into a multi-factor authentication too as well with that. So those might be options that you might want to consider. But just kind of look at what types of offers your bank and your card offer. You want to check your credit reports regularly and frequently. You want to check them to make sure everything is accurate, that everything belongs to you, and that all the information in it is actually, yours. So you want to make sure that any credit cards that are listed, or, if they're active accounts, that the dollar amounts are what they should be. Any phone numbers listed might be phone numbers connected to you, same with addresses, things like that. But we recommend going to annualcreditreport.com. And we do that because it's the site that's going to authorize by federal law with how they have to work and operate. They don't share all your personal information. I know there's some credit cards and different financial companies that will offer you those free credit reports, but they're probably using some of that data, either for advertising or something like that. But there are specific rules with annualcreditreport.com with how they use your information. It doesn't contain your credit score, so that's kind of worth pointing out, but it is going to give you access to those credit reports from Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Used to be that they only provided it once a year to you for free. Now they're doing that every week. There's no need to check your credit report every week, but you might want to go in every few months or whatever. At least once a year is kind of that minimal number that we recommend. But go in there and just kind of make sure that everything is legitimate. And if you're seeing accounts that don't belong to you, you're going to want to put those challenges in place and kind of notify those credit reporting agencies that something is wrong. And if you're finding those signs of identity theft in there, you want to consider a fraud alert. And basically, you go to Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax. You just go to one of those three credit reporting bureaus and notify them that you want to put that fraud alert in place. It's going to last a year. You can get it extended later if you need to, but it's basically going to make sure that those any company checking your credit knows that something's going on, and they're going to need to take extra steps to verify your identity and to make sure that it really is you that's trying to apply for those lines of credit. And kind of the big tool that we recommend everybody do is go in and put a freeze on your credit report. If you're not actively out there searching for new lines of credit, it's a great thing to do. So you basically have to go to each of the three major credit reporting bureaus, again, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, and you're going to put this freeze in place, and it's going to stop anybody from looking at your lines of credit, or it's going to stop you from opening up those new lines of credit too. So, if you've already got business with somebody, they might be able to check some things with your credit history, things like that, but it's basically going to stop new companies and new people from being able to run those lines of credits and kind of look at that, or set up new lines of credit in your name. So nobody's going to be able to open up credit cards in your name or take out a loan in your name, things like that. If you find yourself like I was in a situation last December, I had to buy a car unexpectedly. I was in a car accident and needed to buy a new car, so had a freeze in place. But before I went to get that car loan, I was able to thaw it or lift it. Basically went to their websites, put that thaw in place. By the time I got to the car dealership, they were able to run my credit reports, kind of look at my credit history and things like that. I was able to apply for that new line of credit. And once that loan had gone through and all that process was done, put the freeze back in place. And again, it's going to prevent other people from opening those lines of credit in your name. I know I've been a security breach victim myself, so I've had situations where somebody has tried to apply for credit cards in my name. Luckily, I had to freeze, so I got a message from Experian saying we stopped this, credit card from being opened in your name because you've got a freeze in place. And they gave me steps that I could take if it was me, but it wasn't. So, that freeze did what it was supposed to do. So that's kind of that protection that it offers. So I'd encourage everybody to go put a freeze on your credit reports if you've not done so. And again, you got to go to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax and put those freezes in place. And anytime you need to lift it, you'll be able to do so for free. If you think you're the victim of identity theft or a scam, you can let our office know. Sorry, I just kind of advanced past that. but you can go to consumer.sc.gov, or you can also call that 1-800 number that you see there at the bottom of the screen, 1-800-922-1594. But again, we have an identity theft scam unit that can kind of look at what's happened for you, see what steps you might need to be able to take to prevent further damage from happening. And in some cases, they might be able to help you get a little bit of money back. A lot of times with scams, especially cryptocurrency scams, it's hard to do that. So you may not be able to get access to that money, but they can also kind of help you make sure that nothing worse is going to happen, or we're kind of taking those steps to minimize further damage. And we're going to take a look here to see if we have questions. I see a few are coming in. Let's see. Somebody asked, is it lawful to send money in cryptocurrency? Yeah, it would be, legal to send money in cryptocurrency. I mean, that's kind of how it exists now, right? Some people do use it, either friends or other people that they know. Again, it is kind of a investment option that is out there, and you can send money to people in it. So that part is legal. Kind of what's, I don't want to say illegal about it, or kind of that warning sign to think about is just kind of think about who is asking for it. I would say anytime it's somebody you don't expect that's asking for those payments, or somebody that you don't know is asking for those payments, or you can't verify that they are who they say they are, that's kind of those red flags that you don't want to send that money to them. So those are kind of the things to keep in mind with cryptocurrency. And that's kind of the way that scammers are able to take advantage of that situation. There are kind of ways that make it a little bit harder to figure out who you're sending that money to with it. So that's kind of what they're kind of using those things to take advantage of the situation, and take advantage of people especially. But I'd say anytime anybody's asking for those payments, make sure that it's somebody that you know and somebody you're able to kind of verify that they are. Somebody asked, are cryptocurrency scams a crime? They would be crimes. If you're, taking money from one person in a fraudulent way, there are crimes with that. This person prosecuted. They are, especially with some of those things. A lot of times it may be the FBI or the Homeland Security has the cyber security agency that they have. A lot of times it's those folks who are going after these types of things, and a lot of times they're the ones involved because you think about it, they are across state lines in most cases. With Homeland Security being involved, you realize that you're dealing with criminals who are in another country most likely. So those are kind of those cases that they would get involved with that. Some of these investigators tell us they do have ways to kind of track down where some of these cryptocurrency payments are being sent to now, that some of the cryptocurrency companies do kind of work with law enforcement to make those connections between a criminal and who's, asked people for money or demanded money from them. So they're able to kind of track that down somewhat. But that may depend on what type of cryptocurrency is being used, or those platforms that you're using to transfer that. So that can all kind of get complicated as well, but they are able to kind of prosecute those people or go after them in that type of way. Let's see. Somebody's asking about what if somebody steals the credentials? What can you do? Really, you're going to have to go through that company or that group that you're using for those credentials. So if you have a cryptocurrency wallet with a certain company, you'll want to make sure you're contacting them. Again, you probably want to contact either ic3.gov, that's the Internet Crime Task Force. I'm having a blank on what the last C stands for there, but ic3.gov and fbi.gov, those are two big resources. So anytime that there's those cyber criminal type things with that, you would want to notify them and get them involved, because they may be able to kind of help figure out what's going on with that. But if somebody's able to steal those credentials, they potentially have access to everything in that cryptocurrency wallet. So that's kind of the one of the things that we talked about there at the very beginning. That's kind of that danger of using these types of things, is there's maybe not that protection like you would have with your bank account with the FDIC insurance. These cryptocurrency platforms don't all have that. So, if somebody's able to get into those credentials, that money is potentially gone. So you kind of want to know those policies that that app or that website or whoever, you're dealing with that cryptocurrency exchange. You kind of want to know their policies and their methods to be able to get you back into those accounts. Hopefully they offer some kind of two-factor authentication or something like that. I know some sites do, some of them don't. So just kind of understand what those sites are and kind of know the risk before you're putting money into them would be kind of the best advice with something like that. All right, I'm going to try to get us to our next couple of slides as we get kind of wrapping up. I'll take a look, see if we got any more questions here in just a second. But I kind of want to make sure that folks know that our shred event is coming up. If you're in the Columbia area, we do have a shred event and canned food drive for Harvest Hope. That's going to be Monday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. here at our office in our parking lot, 293 Greystone Boulevard in Columbia. Again, we've got a link there. It's also on our website. You can find all the types of canned goods and types of food that Harvest Hope is looking for this time of year. We've got a few more webinars coming up through the rest of the year. This is kind of our list of our next couple of Wednesday webinars. We've got Identity Theft Awareness and Prevention Month that starts in December. So we'll be talking about that a good bit throughout December with a variety of webinars for businesses and for consumers. So our Identity Theft Awareness Month, kind of our basics of identity theft, what you need to watch out for, that's going to be next week, December 4th, 10:30 a.m. Then the week after that, we'll be discussing identity theft and the law for consumers. So that will kind of discuss different things that businesses have to do to protect your information so that you kind of know what those rights are that you have under the law, kind of what those businesses have to do to protect you. And then on December 18th, right before we get into the holidays, we'll talk about holiday scams, a variety of different things that we see this time of year each time. So that will be December 18th, also at 10:30 a.m. So again, all of our Wednesday webinars, typically 10:30 in the morning when we do those each week. If you don't follow us on social media, I'd encourage you to do so. We're on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Instagram. We've got a lot of our previous webinars on YouTube. So feel free to go to our YouTube channel and take a look at all of our webinars that we've got there. So if you've missed a topic, generally we try to get those up the next day after a webinar and try to have those on our YouTube site so people can follow up on those topics. We've got a lot of publications on our website that you can either download on our website, consumer.sc.gov, or you can request physical copies to be sent to you. Again, all of this is free of charge. Our kind of most popular publications are Ditch the Pitch, our Identity Theft Prevention Guide, our Credit Report Guide. We've got a lot of others on our website, so you can go to consumer.sc.gov, and again, we can send those to you for free. I'm going to try to take one more peek at the questions and see. I'm not seeing anything new, but if anybody's got any questions that come up, feel free to shoot me an email. My email's there on the screen, so is my phone number. Those are my direct lines, so feel free to shoot that to me, and I'll do my best to see what we can do for you. If you get our emails about our webinars, things like that, that public information email address does come to me. So if you just respond to that one as well, I'll get those emails and we can try to help you out with any of those questions that you might have. We appreciate you joining us for our Wednesday webinar. We hope you'll join us next week. And thank you very much. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving holiday. Thank you.